Hey everyone, Steve Renner with the Daily Ambush, coming at you now with a little information on our college football model, which was live last year, mostly used by myself. I had a couple of the people that were beta testing it as well at that time. But look, I used this during the season to win five figures. Once myself, somebody else did as well. Many times throughout the season, had a lot of success. I built this to help me pull in information, put it all in a single source. Early in the season, week 0, as they call it, this tomorrow, the 3 games, and then first couple weeks, I mean, trusting the data can be really dicey because it's all last year's data. Players have changed quite a bit, obviously, in college. So that's the initial disclaimer. Like tomorrow, we've got UConn. UConn didn't play last year. We've got 2019 data on them, yada, yada, yada. But the point is, it's a single source to go to for the basic information that you need with not only projections, ceilings, but also player ratings. As we get deeper into the season and ownership can be a little bit easier to project, I'll start to pull that in as well. And this year, I've got an optimizer that can be used and we'll be building out. So like everything else at Daily Ambush, we don't just release something and let it sit. We build and develop and grow because I want to be interactive and build something that can work for not just myself, but for everybody else. So here's a quick 60-second rundown on what you're going to get here. I say 60 seconds, this will probably turn into 5 minutes. You'll come to the dashboard here initially, and there's really just a couple different options. So it's not like the baseball model, where there's hidden nuggets throughout the model where you can hover over different things and shows you information and a lot of different stat drill downs off that. Here it's pretty basic, right? We've got our quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and then we've got the optimizer. FanDuel optimizer is not up and running yet because their slates aren't really very good, but I will get one built out there for the FanDuel users, which I think will be very helpful when they release their 15-game all-day Saturday slates to be able to quickly find the value there. And then I'll be loading in, the team stats so you can go in and filter during the week and kind of do your own research on different things. But mostly, it's fairly straightforward. You're going to get the ratings. You're going to get the color codes based on different stat criteria, and then the game by game breakdown. So I'll walk through here. First, you get the quarterbacks, we get your running backs, we get your receivers, yada yada yada. Pretty straightforward, obviously. The receivers tab. This last 5-game target share, I've blanked it out because I didn't want to pull in last year's data on this first view here, but as we move into the season, you'll be able to see how the players have been trending over time and with their related targets from their team. And then you get the matchup based upon the opponent, how well they defend the pass, how well they defend the run, which I feel is very important to weigh as well, even for the receivers, because you're going to get a lot of funnel situations. And then, same thing for the running backs. You get their basic stats breakdown, who they're going up against, what their price is, etc. Typical model stuff, right? That's very straightforward. Shouldn't have to explain that too much. Couple hidden things I don't think people took advantage of too much, as much as they should for baseball and will need to do for pro football as well. If you want to get a quick game breakdown, which if you're into the single game parlay betting, this is probably the single source to start at if you're looking for some prop bets. You're going to get all the information, that high level information that you need right off the top here about the game. So Cornhuskers are taking on the Illini tomorrow. Nebraska's a 9.5 point favorite. Their total is a 32.5, which if you do the math, you can see it's a 55.5 total. That will start to automate as we get closer to launch tomorrow. I'll turn that on so it updates as the odds shift throughout the week and right before the game. But you can see how each team did last year. Once we get a couple of weeks into the season, this will turn over to this year's data. Because teams, again, do change, not just the skill position players, but obviously the lines, because it's college, and how well their opponent does. And I use this to really help determine, very basic, okay, is there a quick glance that I want to get on the matchup around where one team's going to funnel versus another, so we can immediately see. Obviously, Nebraska is a run-first team, a lot of which, will come off the grounds of Adrian Martinez, who seems to be 500 years old and is still there at this point. And the Illini last year couldn't stop the run. And most likely will be in that situation again here tomorrow. So Adrian Martinez will be a decent dual threat option, not a high dual threat option, but certainly want to be there. And then Marquis Step will be another guy to immediately target. So I use that to help me funnel immediately. Okay, what are the teams I'm targeting against? Who do we need to pick up? You can see it all right here. You got their salary information for DK loaded right next to them, so you can quickly glance and build that information as best you can. Ignore the class information. I need to update that to roll forward for all these players. I'll do that tonight, in fact. So you've got the breakdown, passing and rushing, who the passing leaders are that are projected to be in the lineup, who the rushing leaders are that are projected. Now, if they don't have a rating listed here, it means that they're not technically listed as a running back on the DFS site, but it doesn't mean that you want to overlook it. So Adrian Martinez, quarterback, is someone who's gotten some rushes in the past, and then they've got a few receivers as well. That's why those guys don't have a rating listed here, because his overall rating is listed up here. The receiving leaders, same thing. If you don't see a rating next to them, it's because they're most likely a running back. You got the player, their salary, the projection, target share, and then once they get some games this season, we will see their last 3 game targets. So Nebraska, Illinois tomorrow, probably not the primary game. I'd say probably. It's definitely not the primary game. Hawaii, UCLA will be, because Hawaii plays fast. Something I will add to this as well that I think will be useful is just seeing the average number of plays per game that teams run. But I do have, as you can see, the number of attempts they have per game, both passing and rushing. And Hawaii's going to play fast. We expect this game to be high scoring. I would probably lean the under since it is the first game of the season. But this will certainly be a popular game where people will be game stacking, which is always very popular in college football to game stack both quarterbacks. And this one certainly does not look like it will disappoint in that regard. So if you're looking for a quick information breakdown on the games, see who the players are that you want to target within it, I always go to these game tabs. And in fact, when I have the 12 game slates usually each week on Saturdays, the main slate, and I start to dive into things around Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, I go game by game first. And I look and I say, okay, is this a game I want to be in? Is it a game I don't want to be in? And if so, is it a passing game, running game? Who are we looking at? Who's mispriced? Things of that nature. And then I'll come back to the model here and actually see where the players rank out in different spots. So if you want to jump into the optimizer, you certainly can. I'll be adding in the ability to do a team stack, game stack, different options within that, lock in players. But for now, if you just want to see what it spits out based upon our ratings, we have that here for you to get a quick glance off this. So all these things that I said I'll be adding will be live before next Saturday's big slate. Actually, back up before midweek next week when some games actually start before that. So, but before next week's main slate rollout, we'll have a lot more features that have been built out with this. So check it out. This is kind of the tip of the iceberg of what the NFL model is going to look like as well, with certainly a little bit more detail on the team by team game matchup pages, just because we have more data available to us in pro football. But if this is of use to you and you want to play college football, DailyAmbush.com/join. $28.03 for your first month, $34.95 each additional month after that. And we hope that you come join us and you can ambush the competition.